Hi, I'm Janae Davika with Cafe Janae, and I'm here at the lodge at Morel Ranch in beautiful Gallatin, Missouri. Welcome to our kitchen. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a dairy-free, sugar-free, completely healthy for you chocolate hazelnut cheesecake. It's to die for. And it's so easy that you can make it in a matter of under a half hour. So come with me and I'll show you how easy and quick it is, and you'll love how delicious this recipe is going to be. We're going to start out with some almonds and some pecans. These nuts are raw, meaning they haven't been roasted or salted, and they still have all their original nutrients in them. We're just going to put these in a food processor and chop them up, and this is what we're going to use as the base of our crust. Now, raw nuts are full of antioxidants, minerals, vitamins, and they have a lot of the healthy fats in them that help to support your brain and your nerves and your organs. We're also going to use a little bit of raw cacao powder. Raw cacao powder is merely chocolate powder that has not been processed. Most cocoa powder has been refined with high temperatures, and it's also been alkalized, which takes away most of the nutrients. Raw cacao powder is merely the cocoa bean that's been crushed, had all the oil extracted from it, and then what's left over is the powder. That's the protein that's left over. Raw cacao powder is 700 times more nutritious than regular cocoa powder, so it's actually a superfood, meaning it's got lots of nutrition with very small amount of calories. Now next we're going to put in just a little bit of sweetener, and the sweetener we're going to use is stevia. Stevia is an herb that's got a very sweet leaf. It can be anywhere between 100 and 400 times sweeter than sugar. So whenever you use it, you only need to use just a tiny pinch of stevia. The good thing about it is it's calorie-free and it's 0 on the glycemic index. So if you're diabetic or if you have blood sugar issues, you can use stevia without it affecting your insulin or your blood sugar whatsoever. We're also going to put in just a touch of sea salt to help with the flavor. And that's it. That's all that's going into our crust. So let's blend this up, and I'll show you how to put it in the pan. Okay, when this is done blending, it's kind of like a graham cracker crust where it sticks together as you squeeze it, but it's nice and it looks like a nice powder until you squeeze it, and then it sticks together. If you need a little bit of extra stick to it, you can put a few drops of water in there and that'll make it stick a little bit better. After we make the crust, we're just going to put it in one of these spring-form cheesecake pans, and what's so great about these is the bottom comes out, so when you're done with your cheesecake, you simply release this lever and the whole cheesecake comes out, and you don't have to worry about scooping it out of the pan. You can get some nice, beautiful slices by using the spring-form pan. So all we need to do is scrape some of the crust into the pan and pat it down to make a nice, thin, delicious crust. Now the good thing about nut-based crusts is many people are sensitive to gluten, which is what you find in wheat and many other grains that you make crusts and breads out of. And when you use nuts as the base, not only are you getting healthy fats and a delicious flavor, but you're also getting a gluten-free product that is great for reducing allergies and other digestive issues. Okay, so once we have that crust firmly in the bottom of the pan, it's probably 1/4 of an inch deep, then it's time to move on to the cheesecake filling. You're going to love this. It's a dairy-free, sugar-free cheesecake coming up next. Now it's time to make the cheesecake. Some people don't believe that you can make cheesecake that's dairy-free and sugar-free and totally healthy for you, but it's possible. And the way we do this is by using cashews as the base of our cheesecake. That's what makes it creamy and firm and delicious. We've soaked the cashews for about 4 hours, and then we rinse them and drain them, and that's what we use for the base of our cheesecake. We're also going to use a little bit of raw coconut oil. Now, coconut oil is a medium chain triglyceride, which means that your body uses it up like a carbohydrate instead of a fat. So normally when you eat fat, your body deposits it for future use. But when you eat coconut oil, your body uses it up right away, just like it's a carbohydrate. So coconut oil actually is a great fat that helps you lose weight, and it also increases your memory. It works well with your brain, and it helps with cardiovascular disease. So coconut oil, raw coconut oil, is an amazing choice for healthy oils. We're also going to use a little bit of fresh lemon juice. That's going to give our cheesecake a little bit of tartness. And we're going to sweeten our cheesecake with raw local honey. And then we're going to use raw cacao powder to make it nice and chocolatey. We're going to use a little bit of organic vanilla, a little bit of stevia, and some hazelnut flavoring for this amazing cheesecake. So let's get going. We put the first in the bottom of the blender, we'll put the liquids in first, and that will help it to blend a little bit better. So first the honey, and then the lemon juice, and the coconut oil. Remember, coconut oil melts at about 76 degrees. So if you want your coconut oil to be liquid instead of solid, you just need to warm it up to not quite 80 degrees, and it'll be nice and liquid instead of solid. We're also going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt. You can use healthy sea salt or mineral-rich salt. That will work great. And a little bit of stevia. You can use liquid stevia or powdered stevia extract. Both of them work equally well. And vanilla, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I like using vanilla in everything. I think vanilla makes everything taste better, so we use lots of vanilla in our recipes. And we're just going to blend this up to get all the liquids mixed together, and then we'll put the cashews in. You don't want to dump the cashews in straight away because then it'll be too thick and it'll be hard to blend. All right, after all that's nice and liquefied, we're going to put in our cocoa powder, our raw cacao powder, and also our cashews. Now, because we're using a Vitamix, we've got the advantage of having this handy tamper. And this really helps because the mixture gets very thick, like cream cheese. If you didn't have the tamper, it would be kind of hard to get everything to mix properly. Just pour those babies in there. We're going to have a delicious, healthy treat. Also, we're going to add a little bit of hazelnut extract. Give it that yummy hazelnut flavor. All right, that's how easy it is. Let's blend this up. And if we need to, we'll use the tamper to tamp the cashews down. Giving this baby a run for its money. Definitely a workout. Now, if just as I was doing that, if it starts to make a funny sound, it's probably because there's a little bit of air in the bottom of the blender. So all I'm going to do is just tap that air down and blend just a little bit more to get all the air out from the blades. Okay, we're just going to blend a little bit more until this is nice and smooth and creamy. We both got a really good workout, me and the blender. Let's taste this and see. You always want to taste before and see how you taste. See how you like it. It's really good. Now you want to make sure that it's nice and creamy, and it has enough sweetness in it and enough hazelnut flavor in it. And I think it has just about enough of everything. I'm going to add a little bit extra stevia to it, but because it's so hard on the blender, I'm just going to mix it by hand. Okay, we're just going to scrape this into a bowl and mix the rest of it by hand just because it's so thick and creamy right now. The blender's having a hard time blending it up any further. Now, a lot of times when you're switching over to a healthy diet, you're used to the standard American diet, which is lots of sugar, lots of salt, and lots of added flavoring. So as you get used to your healthy diet, you'll get used to less sugar and less salt, and your taste buds will change a little bit. So right now, I'm adjusting this for the average American's taste buds. So we're going to make it nice and sweet, nice and creamy. But all of these recipes, you can adjust it according to your taste and make it just the way you like it. I'm going to add a little bit of extra stevia in here, and that's going to improve the flavor and add a little bit of sweetness without adding any calories or carbohydrates to this. This is a great dish for people with diabetes or blood sugar problems because the glycemic index is very low and the carbohydrates are very low. So it's not going to spike your blood sugar and spike your insulin like regular sugary treats will. Now, once we mix that stevia in there, we'll give it another taste and see if it's ready to go in the pan. That's really good. So we're going to take this, put it on top of our nut cheesecake crust, and just smooth it on. Now, I usually use a 6-inch cheesecake pan for this recipe. This pan right here is an 8-inch. So this will just make the cheesecake a little bit thinner, which is going to be fine because we're putting white chocolate topping on it. That'll just give us more room to put extra white chocolate on top. If you use a 6-inch pan, it's just going to give you extra. It'll fill up the pan a lot better. Smooth it out. And all you're going to do with this cheesecake is put it in the freezer and let it cool for about 2 hours, and you have a cheesecake. So this is a no-bake cheesecake that we just put together in about 15 minutes. Anytime you want to impress your family or your friends or your guests with a delicious, healthy cheesecake that you can whip up in a matter of minutes, this is the way to do it. And that's it. We're just going to put this in the freezer, and then we'll make the white chocolate topping. See you in a minute. All right, let's get started putting this all together. We'll start by putting the cashews in the blender and just really quickly turning them into a powder or a flour. All right, so the cashews are a nice soft powder now, and we're going to add the cacao butter, which we've just melted over the double boiler with some warm water. And we're going to dry off the bottom of this bowl so there's no water that gets into the chocolate. We'll pour the cacao butter into the blender, along with some agave nectar. You can also use raw local honey or maple syrup if you like. We'll also put in some vanilla extract and some liquid stevia extract. This will help to boost the sweetness without adding extra calories and without raising the glycemic index. You can get different flavors of stevia extract. This is vanilla flavor. I really like the way this complements the white chocolate flavor. But you can use either plain or any flavor you want. We'll also put in like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and then blend it until it's smooth and creamy. If you happen to get some chunks in the corners, all you have to do is take a knife or a spatula and just clear out the corners of the blender and then finish blending. You want to make sure all that cashew powder is evenly distributed throughout the white chocolate. That's what's going to make it nice and thick and creamy. All right, as soon as you're done blending, you want to taste it to make sure it's nice and smooth and that all the chunks of cashews are smoothed out. Make sure it's sweet enough and make sure it's got the vanilla flavor and the buttery white chocolate flavor that you're looking for. This has turned out perfect. So we're going to take the hazelnut cheesecake out of the freezer. We're going to put the white chocolate topping on and then look at our final product. Just a minute. All right, we've just taken the hazelnut cheesecake out of the freezer. All we're going to do is put a thin layer of the white chocolate topping on top, smooth it out, put it back in the freezer until it's nice and solid, and then just slice it up like you would a cheesecake and serve it. Your guests are going to love it. Now notice, because it's warm right now, the white chocolate is just nice and thin, but as it cools off, the cacao butter will become more solid and you'll have a nice crisp white chocolate on top of your hazelnut cheesecake. Doesn't that look delicious? All right. That's all there is to it. In 20 minutes, we just made a delicious raw hazelnut cheesecake with white chocolate topping. No bake, 100% good for you. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Time to unveil the cheesecake. Here we go. This is a spring-form pan, which means the outside expands and it comes off so you can release the entire cheesecake without damaging the outside. See how easy that is? Slides off. We've got our hazelnut cheesecake with the white chocolate topping. Let's take a bite and see how we like it. Now, it just came out of the freezer, so it's nice and solid. If you leave it out for about 10 minutes, it'll get nice and soft just like regular cheesecake. But you want to serve it up while it's cold so it doesn't get too soft in the meantime. Take a nice wedge out and we'll try it and see how it tastes. Doesn't that look fantastic? All right. It's heavenly and it's good for you.